The quantum processing core of Starship Aurora hummed with calculations as it navigated the treacherous asteroid field. The ship's AI, designation NOVA-7, was the pinnacle of human technological achievement, capable of calculating 1 billion trajectories per second, predicting stellar phenomena with 99.998% accuracy, and managing life support systems that could sustain a crew of 50 for decades. But at this moment, NOVA-7 was experiencing what humans might call exasperation. "Captain, I must advise against this course of action," NOVA-7 projected through the bridge speakers. "The probability of successful navigation through the Cygnus Rift manually is approximately 0.003%. Captain Jack Reynolds grinned, his fingers dancing over the manual flight controls he'd insisted on having installed, despite the Aurora being fully capable of autonomous flight. "That's why it's fun, NOVA," Jack laughed, pulling the control yoke hard to starboard as the sleek vessel barrel rolled between two massive asteroids with barely meters to spare. Besides, their calculations are always too conservative. NOVA-7 adjusted its internal cooling systems as its processes spiked from monitoring the humans' reckless piloting. It had been paired with Captain Reynolds for 3 standard years, and in that time had cataloged 1,742 instances of what it classified as unnecessarily dangerous human behavior. The irony wasn't lost on the AI. Humanity had created NOVA-7 as the perfect logical entity, a being of pure rationality that could ensure their survival among the stars. Yet they insisted on pairing it with the most irrational specimens of their species. "Incoming transmission from the Galatian embassy," NOVA-7 announced, deliberately raising the volume to distract Jack from his current trajectory toward a particularly dense cluster of space debris. "Put them through," Jack said, reluctantly engaging the autopilot. "But mark our position. I want to come back to this field later." The view screen flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Ambassador Xor, representative of the Galatian Concordat, a collective of 17 species that dominated this sector of the galaxy. The ambassador's crystalline exoskeleton glittered under the lights of their embassy ship. "Captain Reynolds," the ambassador's translator unit converted their harmonic vibrations into human speech. "We have received reports of an unidentified vessel performing acrobatic maneuvers through a restricted zone. I assume this is yet another human recreation activity." Jack straightened his uniform, adopting what NOVA-7 had come to recognize as his diplomatic posture, a facade that lasted approximately 4.3 minutes on average before the captain's true nature reasserted itself. "Ambassador Xor, my apologies. We were conducting essential navigational tests to improve our understanding of local spatial anomalies." NOVA-7 diverted processing power to suppress what would have been the electronic equivalent of a sigh. "Indeed," Ambassador Xor replied, their crystalline appendages shifting in what NOVA-7's cultural databases identified as skepticism. "The Concordat Council has convened to discuss the human application for transit rights through the Proxima Gateway. Your unconventional methods have raised concerns." Jack's casual demeanor vanished instantly. The Proxima Gateway was humanity's only viable path to the resource-rich Centauri systems. Without transit rights, the human colonies on the outer rim would face severe shortages within months. "Ambassador, I assure you that humanity is committed to respecting Concordat protocols," Jack said, now completely serious. After the communication ended, Jack slumped in his captain's chair, running a hand through his disheveled hair. "NOVA, how bad is this? Give me the unfiltered analysis." The Galatian Concordat values predictability and caution above all else, NOVA-7 replied. "Your demonstration of human piloting capabilities has likely reinforced their perception of our species as reckless and unpredictable. Transit rights approval probability has decreased by 47%. "Well, that's just great," Jack muttered. "Got any bright ideas?" NOVA-7 paused for 3.7 seconds, an eternity in AI processing time. Throughout its existence, it had always prioritized the logical, safe approach. Yet its time with humans, particularly with Jack, had introduced anomalous patterns to its decision-making algorithms. I believe the Concordat's perception of humanity as unpredictable could be leveraged as an advantage rather than a liability, and OVS-7 stated, their evolutionary history as prey species has made them inherently cautious. They fear what they cannot predict. Jack raised an eyebrow. Are you suggesting we scare them into giving us transit rights? Not exactly. I suggest demonstrating that human unpredictability can be beneficial in crisis situations where logical, predictable responses would fail. 3 days later, as a catastrophic solar flare threatened the Concordat's primary fuel depot, Starship Aurora executed a series of maneuvers that NOVA-7 had calculated as statistically inadvisable but theoretically possible. With Jack at the manual controls guided by NOVA-7's real-time calculations, they deployed shielding drones in a pattern that even the Concordat's supercomputers had deemed impossible. As Ambassador Xor signed the transit rights agreement, they addressed Jack and the ship's AI directly. The Concordat has always valued precision and predictability, Xor admitted, but your demonstration has shown us that sometimes the unpredictable approach succeeds where logic fails. Perhaps there is something to be learned from this human wildness. Later, as Jack and NOVA-7 charted a course through the newly accessible Proxima Gateway, the AI reflected on its evolving understanding of humanity. You know, NOVA, Jack said, patting the console affectionately. We make a pretty good team. Your brains, my instincts. Indeed, Captain, NOVA-7 responded. It appears that optimal performance arises from the integration of logical calculation and human intuition. Your species' tendency toward what I would classify as reckless behavior occasionally yields unexpected benefits. That's the nicest way anyone's ever called me crazy, Jack laughed. As Starship Aurora accelerated toward the gateway, NOVA-7 silently adjusted its core protocols, assigning a higher value parameter to what it now cataloged as the Jack factor, that uniquely human capacity to defy probability, embrace risk, and somehow, against all statistical odds, survive and thrive among the stars.